It was the kind of call you never expect and never forget. A quiet Saturday morning turned upside down by the sharp ring of my phone, followed by the trembling voice of my best friend's mother. Emily was gone. A car accident. One wrong turn on a rainy highway, and she was just gone. I stared out the window while she spoke, unable to absorb the meaning behind the words. Emily had been my person since middle school. The one who sat beside me through heartbreaks, late-night movies, terrible poetry, and every season of life. Her loss was not just a missing presence, it felt like a crack had split open in my world. The days after her funeral blurred together. I floated through them like a ghost, showing up to the wake, hugging tearful family members, and trying not to break when her younger brother, Caleb, hugged me. He was 3 years younger than us, just barely 20, but I remembered him as the goofy kid who used to steal our snacks and make dumb jokes while we studied in their kitchen. That kitchen was eerily silent now. No scent of fresh-baked cookies, no music playing from Emily's old Bluetooth speaker, and no laughter. Just silence and grief. Caleb and I saw a lot of each other during those early days. Her family clung to the people she loved, and that included me. I started stopping by more, bringing food, helping sort through Emily's room, an agonizing process of deciding what to keep, what to donate, and what to box up for now. It was there, in her room surrounded by her scent, her photos, her notebooks filled with dreams, that I broke down. And it was Caleb who found me sobbing on the floor. He sat beside me without a word, wrapping his arm around me, and for the first time in days, I let myself cry like a child. I clung to him, and he held on just as tightly. In that moment, our grief fused us. We weren't the same. He wasn't the kid I once teased, and I wasn't just Emily's friend. We were two shattered people trying to find air in a world that no longer made sense. The weeks stretched into months. Caleb and I developed a rhythm. I'd stop by his family's house after work, sometimes we'd cook together, sometimes we'd just sit in silence. We watched movies Emily loved, shared stories about her, laughed until it hurt, and then sometimes cried again. There was a comfort in him that no one else could offer. Everyone else tried to help me move on, tried to gently push me toward healing, but Caleb understood the need to hold on a little longer. One night, we ended up on the roof of their house. It was the place Emily and I used to sneak up to during high school, where we'd talk about college, boys, and dreams of traveling the world. Caleb brought up 2 beers and a blanket, and we sat there watching the stars in silence. "Do you think she'd be mad at us for still being stuck here?" I asked, half laughing, half crying. "She'd tell us to stop being dramatic," he said, chuckling softly. "And then she'd cry with us anyway." We both laughed, and then it happened, his hand found mine. I didn't pull away. Maybe I should have, but his touch felt like warmth in a world that had been cold for too long. He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw the grief in his eyes mirrored my own. Then he kissed me. It wasn't a passionate kiss, or a long one. It was soft. Desperate. An anchor thrown in stormy waters. And I let it happen. I didn't stop him. I didn't stop myself. After that night, something shifted. We didn't talk about it. We avoided eye contact, changed the subject quickly when conversations veered too close to anything emotional. But it lingered between us. The tension. The memory. I told myself it was grief. That we were broken people leaning on each other. That it didn't mean anything. But the thing is, it started to mean something. He started texting me late at night. I'd find myself thinking about him during the day. The comfort turned into longing. The shared pain into something deeper. I didn't know what to do with those feelings. They felt wrong. Emily was gone, and here I was falling for her brother. The guilt was constant, gnawing at the edges of every moment we spent together. But I couldn't stop. One night, months after the kiss, I found myself at his door again. It had been a hard week. Her birthday had passed, and I'd been spiraling. I needed to see him. When he opened the door, I saw the same pain in his eyes. He didn't say anything. He just pulled me into a hug that turned into something more. That night, I made a choice. We crossed a line. A line I swore I'd never cross. We didn't talk about Emily. We didn't talk about what this meant. We just let it happen. And afterward, lying in his bed, Wrapped in his arms, I cried. Not because I regretted being with him, but because I knew nothing would ever be the same. In the days that followed, we tried to pretend like nothing had changed. But it had. Everything had. I found myself looking at him differently, noticing the way he smiled when he was trying to hide pain, the way he always remembered to make extra coffee just the way I liked it. And he looked at me like I was the only one who understood him. Maybe I was. We kept it a secret. We didn't know how to explain it to anyone, least of all ourselves. We weren't in love, not really. We were clinging to the only person who felt familiar in a world that had turned upside down. I knew it couldn't last. It wasn't sustainable. And yet, I couldn't walk away. Then one day, I found a letter. It was tucked inside one of Emily's old notebooks I had borrowed from her room. It wasn't addressed to anyone, just a journal entry. But as I read it, my heart twisted. She had written about Caleb. About how much she worried about him. About how she hoped I would always be there for him if anything ever happened to her. She trusted me. Believed in me. Counted on me. And here I was, doing the one thing she would never have wanted. I stared at that page for what felt like hours. It was like her voice was whispering through time, reminding me of who we were, who I was supposed to be. I knew then that what I had with Caleb, whatever it was, couldn't go on. Not like this. I met him at the park, the one near her high school where we used to hang out. He knew something was wrong the moment he saw me. I tried to explain, to make him understand. That I cared about him. That I always would. But that this wasn't love, it was grief, trying to fill a void we both knew would never be filled. He didn't say much. Just nodded, tears welling in his eyes, and whispered, "I get it." And I knew he did. That was the hardest part. Knowing we both understood, and it still hurt like hell. I walked away from him that day, and I haven't seen him since. It's been over a year now. I still think about Emily every day. Still feel that ache in my chest when I hear her favorite song or walk past her old house. And sometimes, in the quiet of the night, I think about Caleb too. About what we had. What we could have had, in another life, under different circumstances. I made a choice I can't undo. A choice that still lives inside me, a quiet echo of a time when grief brought two broken people too close. And though I've found healing in new ways, parts of me remain tethered to that moment.